Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to Concordia University's Fourth Space. Thanks for joining us for today's event, Rethinking Feminist Film Cartographies with the Barcelona International Women's Film Festival. We would like to begin by acknowledging that Concordia University is located on unceded Indigenous lands in Chichage, Montreal. We respect the continued connections with the past, present, and future in our ongoing relationships with Indigenous and other peoples within the Montreal community. And here at Fourth Space, we work with our university community to help mobilize knowledge. We co-create daily activities, examining research questions, projects happening all across the university. We're running today's event as both a live stream to YouTube as well as a Zoom meeting. So those of you joining us via Zoom, we'd love your comments, your questions. Just pop those into the chat and we can do our best to read those out a little later. And the same for you here in the space. If you have any comments, questions, just raise your hand and we'll run a microphone over to you so that everyone can hear. Okay, with that, it's my pleasure to pass the microphone over to the chair of the school, Mel Hoppenheim School of Cinema, as well as a Concordia University Research Chair in Film Studies. Give us some introduction today, Martin Lefebvre. Martin, welcome back.
Thank you. So nice to see you all here. Hello everyone. Bonjour à toutes et à tous et bienvenue en ce jour de vérité et réconciliation. It's wonderful to be here today, and I thank my colleague Rosanna Maule for inviting me to say a word in support of this research initiative, which is funded by SSHRC. Film festivals play an essential role in the dissemination and preservation of film culture. They predate the development and blossoming of the academic study of film and function, and they function as a key crossroad where all the social and cultural stakeholders of cinema meet: academics, non-academics, film scholars, cinephiles, filmmakers, producers, actors, critics, etc. The Mostra Internacional de Film de Dones de Barcelona has now been in existence for more than 30 years. A non-competitive festival, it promotes cinema directed by women, making women's audiovisual culture visible. The festival defines itself as a dissident, feminist, and passionate event that contributes to the recovery, expansion, and reorganization of the multiple histories of cinema made by women. Over the years, it has become one of the most important platforms for the dissemination of the work and art of women filmmakers from around the world, helping establish new creative voices and recovering others too easily silenced in the past. The Mostra is also interested in thinking through the place, the role, the function of festivals, not just within the sphere of cinema itself, but in society at large. Indeed, beyond film screenings, the Mostra puts on activities that focus on various important themes, ranging from lesbian and bisexual narratives to inclusivity, and to bringing more women into filmmaking. They also host educational programs and conferences. As most of you know, Professor Rosanna Maule is a leading scholar in the area of women's cinema, having published widely and co-directed a film on the topic. She has recently turned her attention to women's film festivals as global circuits of feminist collaborations and activism. And so on behalf of the School of Cinema, I wish to thank her for organizing this event with key members from the Mostra and students from our school. Thank you, Rosanna.
Thank you very much, Martin, for this very generous and very nice introduction. I will need to have my own PowerPoint open.
There we go.
Fantastic. So I would like to recite again the editorial acknowledgement in light of the Truth and Reconciliation Day that we acknowledge and celebrate today. Today, Concordia partakes in Canada's National Day for Truth and Reconciliation to remember and honor the survivors of the residential schools, the colonial settler establishment funded by the Canadian government and run by the Catholic Church that between 1830 and 1997 was obliging Indigenous children to attend institutions where they were removed from their homes, taken away from their parents and their communities. Many of these children never returned, and all of them were forever traumatized by the violences suffered in these institutions. We recite the territorial acknowledgement today to remember and honor the survivors of the residential schools, the children who never returned home, and the families and communities who were forever impacted by the school policy, whose intent was to erase all traces of Indigenous identity, culture, and language. So what we do today is also work on remembering and bringing truth and honor to Indigenous communities in this light. I would like to begin by acknowledging that Concordia University is located on unceded Indigenous lands. The Kanien'kehá:ka Nation is recognized as the custodians of the lands and waters on which we gather today. Zumzeig, Montreal, is historically known as a gathering place for many First Nations, and today it is home to a diverse population of Indigenous and other peoples. We respect the continued connections with the past, present, and future in our ongoing relationships with Indigenous and other peoples within the Montreal community. So as it was said before, we would like to welcome all of you to this hybrid presentation, which was also hosted within the framework of a course that I have the privilege to teach about repurposing gender media. And I thank all the students in this course for being present. It's a master's/PhD course. And we will be accommodating questions from all the participants, and I especially ask the students to be participating in this event. And my name is Rosanna Maule, pronoun is she and her. I'm professor of film and moving image image studies at Mel Hoppenheim School of Cinema. Martin has already introduced my work. And what I would like to do in the first part of the presentation is to contextualize the exchange partnership project that we did with this established film festival that it's been a really main point for cinematic cultures, feminist and queer cultures for more than 30 years, as Martin Lefebvre was saying. And what I would like to do is also thank, first and foremost, the space, the team, and the work for us. It's really a privilege to be here, and it's great that Concordia, and this space in particular, offers scholar students the opportunity to exchange knowledge about what has been done and what is being studied. Also would like to thank the Hy-Vee Cafe Co-op for providing catering for us. My first thanks, of course, goes to the Barcelona International Women's Film Festival. I would like to start with Maria Zafra, the director of the festival, who unfortunately could not be here with us today. But also the participants in today's presentation, Alba Villarmea Sancho and Sarah Lauzemis, whom I will introduce more in depth in a moment. Angel Sakes, who is the director of Dark Magic, which is the cooperative of which the festival is a project. And all the participants in the festival all the members of the festival and Drag Magic who had participated, with whom I worked during 2 field residencies that I did during sabbatical leave last semester. Thanks also to all the feminist centers, the partners that collaborated, thanks to all the colleagues, and thanks to the students who have collaborated in these projects, and the communities, the various and different communities that participate in this festival. At Concordia, I would like to thank the Office of Research, most particularly Michelle Kaplan, who has made this and also many other projects of mine possible, especially for getting SSHRC money grants, which are so important also for students to collaborate. And first and foremost, I would like to thank the amazing team that worked in this project. I want to introduce them in a second, but they are Fernanda Alves Salgado, Arlo Gross, and Daria Mailesi. Just tell them that I learned a lot from you, and you've been very patient, and I really think we did a good work together, thanks to you. I would like to move on by introducing more in depth the 2 presenters of today from the festival. Alba Villarmea Sancho is a co-programmer of the Mostra Internacional de Film de Dones de Barcelona. She holds a degree in journalism and audiovisual communication from the Universidad Carlos III in Madrid, and has a master in contemporary film and audiovisual studies from the Universitat Pompeu Fabra in Madrid. She was part of the content and communications team for the program Soy Cámara 2018 at the Center of Cultura Contemporània de Barcelona, and worked as a member owner of the exhibition space Zumzeig Cinecooperativa from 2019 to 2020. Since 2024, she organizes the Ciclo Pulga, Queer Cinema and Counterculture in Asturias. She's been a member of the programming team of the Mostra Internacional de Film de Dones de Barcelona since 2021, and co-organizes the Contrazines Feministas reading group at La Bonne, one of the partners, a feminist center that organizes many events with the festival. Sarah Lauzemis is a producer at the Mostra Internacional de Film de Dones de Barcelona. She was born and raised in Brussels and has been based in Barcelona since 2018. Sarah holds a degree in audiovisual communication from the IHECS in Brussels and a master in communication and journalism from Université Libre de Bruxelles. She also has a master in creative documentary from Pompeu Fabra University in Barcelona, and she's a member of the feminist sound collective Dones Sonores, which is in residence at La Bonne, the center I mentioned before. Over the years, she has contributed to various European projects, international networks, including ECAS and ICAS, International Cities and the Dance Sound. In 2015, she co-founded SHIEV, a musical festival in Brussels that is part of the European project SHAPE. She's been working for the Mostra Internacional de Film de Dones de Barcelona since 2023. Thank you so much for being here with us today. They're very busy organizing the second part of the festival, which is starting this day, and I really appreciate their time. I would like to invite the phenomenal, formidable team that work with this project, and with us, to join me to introduce themselves. Fernanda Alves Salgado, Arlo Gross, and Daria Mailesi, and say, introduce themselves, please.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming today. My name is Fernanda. I'm a researcher and creator from Brazil. I'm doing my research and PhD studies in film studies here at Concordia on Black female experimental animation and counter narratives. I've had the pleasure of working on the Mobilizing Women Cinema project as a research assistant and also supervisor. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Arlo. So first of all, thanks to For Space for having us, and to Rosanna and Mostra for the opportunity to work on this project. So I'm a second-year PhD student at the Film and Moving Image Studies department. And I've been a research assistant in this project since January, and I've been translating the archive from Catalan and Spanish into English. And yeah, it's been a pleasure to work on this project and collaborate with this great team. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Daria. I'm a student at the Cinematic Arts program here at Concordia. I'm a documentary filmmaker, and I've been working with Rosanna as her research assistant for, I think, for a little over a year now in her two projects. One of them is this one. And yeah, it's so nice to meet you all here. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You'll be back. So quickly, the research project that we're about to present has been developed with the Barcelona International Women's Film Festival, brings together academic and non-academic initiatives for the production, the mobilization of knowledge. It is funded by SSHRC, which is a federal agency, and it is participating in the sense that it advances research training and knowledge mobilization in the social sciences and humanities through mutual cooperation. I put the accent on the ways in which this mobilization and this partnership has been done through liminal, bridging, cooperative, participatory practices. And this is the focus of our presentation today. Also, in applying what the grant agency asks and proposes as I looked and I developed my knowledge and my previous also field research that I did at the cooperative, the Socialist Feminist Cooperative Dark Magic, about which I had in part written for a previous research. Dark Magic has been founded, was founded in 1971, so during the Spanish, the Franco regime, and was founded by a group of media practitioner intellectuals as a counter public sphere using audiovisual tools and media to develop a different kind of knowledge and also social discourse within the country and in the society. The principles that inspire this partnership project are those that inform the festival and has been at the basis, at the core of Dark Magic and the festival ever since. The festival started in 1993, as Martin was saying before, as specified in the collective book, The Marta Selva and Anna Sola, from which the course that I'm teaching the students that are participating today were suggested to read some excerpts. The festival perceives its activities, but also the ways in which it proposes its different activities as a space, a cinematographic space of dialogues. The festival develops these dialogues with different kind of communities. And so we developed our project based on some of the main principles that are the basis of this festival, which are the principles of exchange of knowledge, exchange of material, of ideas, exchange collaborative practices, and also inclusive methods and practices in developing these dialogues and this exchange. In this project, we started from the idea that The Mostra is a relational space, so we collected, we analyzed, we translated documents that the festival has been collecting, has been also making available, and also disseminating through its social media, through its website, to highlight the festival's commitment to create a relational space for different kinds of women's cinemas, for different kind of communities, and to put forward also the collaborative inclusive strategies of presentation and discussion that this festival proposes. The focus is on the festival, therefore, as a relational space, and we looked also at the ideals that inform the festival. The festival has been redefining and continuously the concept of women in the plural from a gender critical standpoint. It is also a relational space in terms of how it develops documents and discussions in terms of action and memory building. It invites dialogues among different communities, as I was saying before. It includes, in so doing, audiences, activists, critics, experts, and of different, from different communities and groups, feminist, trans-feminist, and non-binary groups. The Archipelago project, of which we'll see some excerpts from the program that the festival is brought together and prepared for us, brings the relational space of the festival also on an online platform. And what I also like about the relational dimension of the festival is the fact that it maintains a memory of itself and of all the activities that the festival proposes in an intergenerational process of memory building. So what we did in terms of archival research and archival also observation is one that looks at the ways in which the festival maintains a memory of itself and maintain also a political stance vis-a-vis the context and framework of festivals, deciding to be non-competitive and also to be run, as will be explained later on, for a longer period of time. So to accommodate the different times, different also possibility to attend a festival, not as an event, the different kind of communities and different kind of audiences might have. The research that we developed at the festival and about the festival includes different kind of elements and themes. We looked at archival documents. We developed also new documents, especially through interviews with members of the team, the festival teams, but also with participants in the festival as partners. And we also translated, as was mentioned before, different kind of materials that the festivals proposed to us. So we were always asking the festival what they would like us to highlight and to look at to begin with. All stages of the research were discussed between the two teams, discussed through Zoom meetings, discussed through also email encounters, and it was, again, a reciprocal type of work. These are some of the collaborative activities and the methods also that we used. So it was a participatory ethnography, meaning that we sent the questionnaires beforehand. The semi-structured questionnaires were discussed before through previous knowledge sent to the participants of our project. There were also shared cooperative participant discussions of the material selected, as I was saying before, and everything that we translated and the process, the editorial process of a translation was also always discussed and verified by us with the festival. And I would like to invite later on everyone to say something about this. Our research approach is inspired by feminist queer history, historiography, but is also catering to the co-participative, affective dimension that is intrinsic in this festival, that has been within their practices since the very beginning. When I was there, when I was doing research, I was trying to be as transparent as possible because they were busy working in this open space, preparing the festival. They were always very kind, very generous, exchanging with me their information, stopping their work to work with me to participate in what I was doing. So it's a dimension of affective co-sharing of knowledge, of preservation of knowledge, also non-standard records of Women's Film Festival. I took some pictures of the space where this research was done in presence during one of the residencies. The festival collection reflects both the material, the community base, the do-it-yourself nature of feminist and queer archives, but also the critical and interventional practices, the feminist LGBTQ informed also approach to the archive, to the memory of this festival and of women's cinema that the festival puts in practice. The project included, as I said before, a series of videos and audio interviews. That we did these interviews in one of the centers that are participants and participate with the festival. And this was La Bonne. Members of the festival were participating in all phases. So during the filming, in the editing phase, we provided transcriptions, they verified the transcriptions, and we offered also some ideas about how to put intertitles so as to make the translations more readable and easy also for the translators. So I would like to ask the team now to come over and help me with the last phase of this presentation with regards how we did with the documents. The festival, if you look on their website, has dozens, hundreds of documents from past editions, but also documents they produce in terms of publications. These are media articles, they're transcripts also of lectures from scholars, critics, participants that came to the festival, but there are also publications that were made from specific purposes or about specific editions of the festival. So we structured the work in a way that would allow us to interact all the time with the festival. And I would like to look at some of the items that we used. So we used an exchange platform, but I would like to ask Fernanda, Arlo, and Daria to say something about how they did it, because they did most of the work. Thank you.
Hi again. So as Rosanna mentioned, the festival selected a number of documents from its archive accessible only in Catalan or Spanish. These included media articles published by the festival, transcripts of lectures by participants, dossiers and essays by scholars or critics published in the festival's programs throughout the years. We then structured the work in a way that would allow us to translate, review, send it to the festival for feedbacks, and to have later a couple of final reviews in order to accommodate any questions or demands made by the festival, and to also go through the translations with a fine comb, trying to catch every nuance and context and any need of an editorial work in terms of translation notes, corrections, or adaptations. Do you like to continue? We have notes here. Sure. Okay, yeah, okay.
Some of the methodological questions that we shared and discussed among ourselves and with the festival were, should we and how to incorporate our editorial work on the original documents, including occasional corrections of typos or dates, inclusion of explanatory comments. We considered using footnotes, but as some of the documents already included those, we then agreed to use endnotes so as to distinguish between them while also identifying our interventions in the translations. We also considered as much as possible with a designer attached to the project to organize the information, and in the same way as it was in the original documents.
Okay, aside from that, as an early methodological decision, we also included as much as possible hyperlinks to the films people cited in order to expand the network of resources and information included in each original document.
Yeah, so this was written together, and so there was a lot of editing that was done together, a lot of going back and forth, because some of the documents originally might have included some information that didn't resonate with the amazing work of research that we all had done, they had done. And so we wanted to basically double check everything. This is done in a way that is not intrusive in regard to the original documents. And it was very important for us to double check with the festival, to double check among ourselves. And we can discuss later the challenges, but also the ways in which we wanted to reflect what had been done, excuse me, by the festival, so that it doesn't look like an academic intervention, something that is an exchange of knowledge and not coming from an academic standpoint. These are some of the images that I took during the second residencies that I did during the festival. Alba was also present in some of the events of the festival and took also notes about some of the events I couldn't be present in simultaneously. And I thank them for this. The three events that I chose come from very different type of presentation. One is an event, an animation feature at the Filmoteca with the filmmaker and a member of Pact Magic, which is one of the Direct Magic's project dedicated to the promotion of audiovisual culture through children films. It was a packed room of children with their parents, and it was a very felt, very enthusiastic audience. Another one is, the second is the inauguration of the films by Sarah Lauzemis at the Filmoteca de Catalunya by her daughter, Anushka de Andrade, who is also her former collaborator and the curator of her mother legacy. Also the Filmoteca with another kind of audience and aimed at highlighting the work of this important filmmaker, and also the effort that the festival has done to collect, identify, and bring as many films as possible. Sarah Lauzemis is incomparable. And the third is one of the presentations the festival has done and continues doing in different locations. These are public spaces, but also community centers in Barcelona. This is the presentation of the early shorts films by Cheryl Dunye, and it's in a public space square very close to the festival's headquarters. So these are different programs for various different audiences, and they're examples of the ways in which the festival intervenes spatially, intervenes also socially in the social context and social spheres of Barcelona, of the local community, but also as a way of engaging different kind of audiences, different kind of communities in Barcelona. I would like to hear more and invite the presenters now to discuss other type of presentations that the Barcelona Film Festival has been doing, but also I know that they have for us a full discussion about the history and the practices that the festival has been putting together for many, many years. I thank again Alba Villarmea and Sarah Lauzemis for being here here. And I just wanted to say that it's been a real pleasure and a fantastic experience working with you. And I look forward to more. Thank you for being here. Thank you.
A lot to you.
Thank
Good
you.
evening.
Good evening. Yeah, thank you all for being there today in Montreal. Well, today there, here is clearly tonight. It's 8:30 p.m. And thank you especially to Rosanna, who was here during the last semester. Thank you for choosing our festival to be part of your research, because for us it was extremely rich to have you here, and also to hear all your comments and all your feedback, connecting us to the other festivals that were taking part of your research, and acknowledging that we are a big network of feminist film festivals in connection. And also thank you to Arlo, Daria, and Fernanda. We have only met Arlo in person, but we are so grateful to have been working with you for the last months, and for all your translations and comments. Thank you very much. And thank you for inviting us to this event. I don't know if you have the PowerPoint that we sent you, if we can have it on screen. Yeah, thank you. So, well, Rosanna has already introduced us a bit, but we wanted to share too. I'm Alba Villarmea, and I've been working as a programmer of the Mostra Internacional de Films de Dones de Barcelona, the Women International Film Festival of Barcelona, since 2021. And today I'm here with my colleague Sarah.
Yes, exactly. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot to everyone. Thanks a lot for the invitation and for taking, well, to share with us this event, and also to have been part of this big project. Well, I joined the festival more recently. This is my third year, which I'm starting now. So it's more recent. But it's a quite big project since many years. It's a 33rd edition. And do you want first to comment a bit on the festival, and then I go back to...
I just wanted to say, Rosanna has already said it, but Maria Zafra, who is the current director of the festival, she has been running the festival for the last 4 years. And she was supposed to be here, and sadly she cannot be here due to medical issues, but Sarah and I will be sharing the experience of the festival and this project that we want to highlight tonight, that is the Archipelago project. So we are really happy to be here. And yeah, we wanted to start underlining what Sarah just said, that the Mostra de Films de Dones was created in 1993 and has been programming films directed by women, but also, and this is important, by other dissident identities such as trans and non-binary identities for the last 3 decades. And as you have just seen, Sarah and I had only joined this project recently, so we are the last piece of this genealogy that it's really long and really rich. And many teams have been part of this festival, so we are like the visible faces today, but many people take part of this project and have taken part of this project. And I wanted to start giving some historical context, though Rosanna has already shared some interesting information about the history of the festival. But the festival was created in 1993, as we said, but I don't know if we can go back to the PowerPoint, to the second slide. Yeah, the next one. Yeah, thank you. So it was created in 1993, but it was created in the context of this bigger cooperative that Rosanna was mentioning, that is Drag Magic. And Drag Magic had been working for 20 years already in the moment that the festival was founded, because Drag Magic was founded in 1971. And that means that it was founded during the Franco dictatorship in Spain. It was a cooperative, film literacy cooperative, a cultural cooperative that had a strong gender perspective and also strong links to Catalan promotion and Catalan culture. So it was pretty exceptional to have a cooperative like this back then. And I just want to highlight this because I think this is what allows later to create festivals such as the La Mostra in the 90s. And as you probably know, in the 90s, there was a growing international awareness on women film visibility and women filmmakers in general across Europe, but also in other geographies. And there were many festivals that were created before the Mostra did, such as, for example, the Festival de Film de Femmes de Créteil in the late 70s. Also, the Festival de Film et Vidéo de Femmes de Montréal in your city in 85, the Women Film Festival in Florence, also in 88, the Dortmund Cologne Festival in 84. These were all festivals that the first team of the Mostra visited in order to gather all these experiences of different women cinephiles and women professionals that were creating this kind of spaces. And then this team could come back to Barcelona and created the festival in our city. I don't know if you're seeing the PowerPoint now because we are seeing ourselves in the screen, but okay. We wanted to share with you these two images. The first one is it's a newspaper article, and it's not about the first edition of the festival, but it was 3 years before, as you can see in the date that it's on the right corner. And it was a week dedicated to films made by women in the Filmoteca de Catalunya. And it was part of the International book festival that took place in the 1990 in Barcelona. And it was the first time that this team that you can see in the photograph in the right side worked together to put together this program of women filmmakers, and it worked really well. And that's like the seed of the Mostra that would took place 3 years later. This is important because from the very beginning, the Mostra was really linked to the feminist movement in Barcelona, and it still is. And this is important for us to highlight too, that the Mostra Films de Donas, it's not a festival that is entirely cinematographic or just concerned to film issues or to cinematographic issues, but it's a festival that is really linked to feminist debates, and it's also addressed to a feminist public. And this is important, shared with other film festivals around the world, but this is important for us, as I think it's exceptional, at least in Barcelona. And there's a strong local history behind this connection of the festival with feminist movements. Can we move on to the next slide? Thank you. Yeah, just to give some context, in the 1976, that is 1 year after the dictatorship ended, the Catalan Women Conference took place in Barcelona, and it was a gathering of different feminist collectives that were working in different parts of the country. And it was, or now it's marked as the beginning of the second wave of feminisms here in Barcelona, a little later than in other places of Europe due to the dictatorship too. And after this Catalan Women Conference took place, in Barcelona appeared a lot of women-only spaces, such as the photos that you can see of La Salle on the left and Caladona in the right. These were two squattered spaces for women only. And in these two spaces, film clubs started to took place. It was a little bit like what happened with books during the dictatorship that were circulating hand to hand, and were books that were clandestine and were addressing feminist issues. Well, this happened a little bit later in the 90s with films, and all these feminists that were working in the city of Barcelona started to look for these films that could be interesting to address some feminist debates, and were looking for these films internationally. They were attending festivals internationally to get to watch these films. And it's really interesting because these films, like the feminists started to see these women films not as entertainment, but as a powerful language that was saying something about women issues and about the representation of women. So it's like a change of the way of thinking back then about the film. About film. And as I was saying, the creation of these festivals in Barcelona, around Europe and around the world, and in the context of these demands that we now gather under the name of the second wave of feminists, shifted the course of film history as it had been written until then. And all these festivals had similar aims, similar objectives, and we wanted to share the three main ones of the Mostra, but of many of them back then. The first one was reconstructing, restoring film genealogies based on pleasure, creativity, and enjoyment. The second one was subverting the dictates of academia and the androcentric narratives of film. The film history that was written until then, or that was explained in universities and in books, was, as you know, really androcentric, and very few women appeared in these texts, and they were usually confined to one subject, one chapter, one really narrow space. And the third main objective of the festival back then was resurrecting the work of the pioneers and establishing connections between these pioneers and other women that were working all through the women film history. And with this, I mean that the Mostra and most of festivals still now want to share the work of women filmmakers, highlighting the connections between these women filmmakers and trying to challenge this idea of women filmmakers as mythological figures who suddenly appear in history and they are not connected to anyone else in their epoch. So these were the main three objectives of the festival back then, and they still are right now. And this was mainly the presentation of the festival with this historical review that we've done. And now we wanted to present here the project that.
Exactly. It was important for us to give this context and to give this framework of where, how did the Mostra started and in which year, and that you have like the general historical context also to understand from where it comes and to understand the exact setting of Archipelago, which is a project which started in 2017, meaning it's a quite recent project that has less than 10 years. And it's a project created by Marta Selva and Ana Solá, who you mentioned before, Alba, who are one of the two co-founders of the festival and were the directors for about almost 25 years. And they created a project together with Marta Nieto, who was a former director of the Mostra until 2021. So this Archipelago project, for us, it's a very specific and quite important project in the sense that since almost 8 years, it's an island chain, no? Because literally it's an island chain which grows every year. It's a project which is totally alive, and it started in its moment in 2017 with the idea of inviting the general audience, the general public, but also renowned women directors to create pieces. And the framework, the starting point for the open call, because since its beginning an open call, the starting point was which woman filmmaker would you pay tribute to with a piece of your own creation. So this was the starting point, and it still is, in the sense that every year since 2017, it's either open tribute or a tribute to concrete filmmakers, which were also programmed in that year's edition. And so to create little islands according to what the general public considers, or specific cineasts, or amateurs, or cinephiles. And so it's also about creating genealogies, about making understand that cineasts never actually worked in an isolated way, but they connected. They connected because they worked with other cineasts in their moment, and also the new generation, us, but also the generation before, were also inspired by other cineasts. And so in this sense, it's a tribute. So in the first edition, in the very first edition, for example, there were 37 participants who responded to the call, and the most frequently honored filmmakers in the first year was Agnès Varda, Chantal Ackerman, Maya Drin, Iadis Guy. And then later on, with the time, the new proposal were also cineasts which were not that well known, or even emergent cineasts. For example, in the case of let's say Catalan or Spanish cineast called Carolina Estudia, she made in the first edition a tribute to yes,
that we will later be able to see in the screening, during the screening.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then later on, I don't know which year it was, but it was quite recently, she got her own island, meaning there was another amateur or cinephile who decided to create, to make a tribute to Carolina Estudia. So this is like quite important to understand that it's like a project which grows year by year, and which creates new islands. Every cineast has its own island and inspires a new generation, another person, another cinephile.
Yeah,
I think it's, that this one was the starting point. So in a way, it was for us, or it was also for especially for the one who created in 2017, important to make evident that women filmmakers do not work in isolation, but as part of a network first, and also to make, of course, women filmmakers visible and connected. Also, it's not a coincidence that this is an online platform. It means that you can actually go into every island from wherever you are on this planet. If we could just go for a moment to the link, to the website link. Perfect. Thanks a lot. So if you hoover over the different islands, you can actually see, if you just hoover a second, just hoover over without entering, that you have a lot of islands and you can click on it. And we will just click into Agnès, which is the other link you have open. Yeah, exactly. And on Agnès, you can see all the videos which were created by cinephiles, by amateurs, by also more renowned filmmakers. And so every island gets bigger and bigger. Depends. Some islands are not that big. This one is especially.
This one is the biggest.
It's the biggest. Exactly. And of course, also the name of the project in itself, it's well, it refers, of course, to an island chain, but in a more metaphorical way, it's also about the idea to reflect the network of connection among women filmmakers, and also to see like that it's not an isolated island. It's really like an archipelago of islands.
Mm-hmm.
This was one aspect we wanted to highlight. Another one, as we said before, depending on the years, could be more an open tribute. So the general public can decide to which director it wants to pay tribute to, or a more concrete filmmakers. This is a decision which is taken as part of the Mostra festival itself. And there was one other point I wanted to mention. Well, yes, that from 2021 onwards, actually the project got bigger, because from 2017 to 2021, basically it was an open call with a presentation at the end. And then from 2021 onwards, the project started also to collaborate with other institutions and museums, which was also a kind of a big step, and also important for the project in itself, because then suddenly the project entered museums. We can go back actually.
Yeah, we can go back to the presentation.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, maybe before you enter in this line of I just wanted to highlight again what you just said about the directors being tributed in the Archipelago project, because as Sarah said, during the first edition of the open call, the directors that were homaged, that were tributed, were as you might think, the ones that we all know. It was Chantal Akerman, it was Agnès Varda, it was Alice Guy. And it's really interesting because we were comparing this first open call of the Archipelago project to the first edition of the festival. If you can move on to the next slide, we will be able to see. This is a screenshot of 2 pages of the catalog of that first edition of the festival, and we were looking for the directors that were programmed back then in the 90s, and obviously they were Chantal Akerman, they were Agnès Varda, Alice Guy, in this program that the first team of the festival called Memory the Pioneers. And they were programmed along with other pioneers such as Germaine Dulac or Lois Weber. And if you can move on to the next slide, we have translated a paragraph of the program that we can read. It says, the common thread that runs through the itinerary, through the cinematic world created by women, has a starting point that dates back to the early years of cinema. There, overshadowed by the names of so many famous pioneers, the daring Alice Guy began to make films, with them venturing into the virgin territory of the new medium of expression. Also Lois Weber and Germaine Dulac and many others who are just now beginning to have their own space in some historical chronicles. To begin this section of the first Mostra dedicated to the recovery of works, filmographies, or authors, we have found nothing better than to take a trip to the origins to reconstruct film by film the identity of a past in which they also had a significant leading role. The approaches that we have initiated for the current program happily open up a sea of possibilities. And I really like this a sea of possibilities that directly links to the Archipelago project. And it has been really, really beautiful to have this open call running for the last, how many years have you said? 7? 8 years?
Yeah.
Since 2017. Because even though in this first open call we received pieces directed to Agnès Varda, Chantal Ackerman, Germaine Dulac, we have learned something that I think that it's really valuable, that after these 8 years of open calls, we have received pieces directed to other filmmakers that are completely unknown to us. So we have also learned about women filmmakers through this open call. And it's interesting to see how when you persist with an initiative, you can go deeper into its universe. And the participants of the Archipelago project have their imaginaries based on their own experiences, their individual experiences, but when put together, the imaginary, the archipelago, grows larger and grows richer. And I think it's this shared universe which is really interesting about the archipelago. Sarah was explaining before that this really beautiful thing with Carolina Estudillo, this Catalan filmmaker that paid tribute to the Soviet pioneer Spirshuk, but also has an island dedicated to herself with pieces from other filmmakers. And some of other filmmakers that were also tributed in the following years were, for example, the Catalan illustrator and animator Pepita Pardell. You will also be able to see the piece dedicated to her in this screening that we have put together, that it's going to be screened later. This animator Pepita Pardell was completely unknown to us. There's other tributes to Spanish filmmakers such as Maria Cañas, Maria Ruido. You may not know them, but they are really, really interesting. There's one tribute also to Maria Zafra, who is the director of the festival, and this also is, it's beautiful. And nowadays the archipelago consists of 90 islands, and we have a total of 228 tributes on the website, not only videos, but also images, GIFs, text, etc. So you can really present what participants want in terms of format. It's really open in that sense. And also we wanted to say that, of course, the archipelago is also really linked to the festival community here in Barcelona, and it's really rooted to this community and this city. And I think this is another thing that's valuable about the project, that it would be really interesting to reproduce it in other festivals, in other communities, in other geographies, because I think there would be some coincidence, but the archipelago could be completely different.
Exactly. Changing city or context.
I don't know if you want to share.
Yes, if we could go on the slides, next slide maybe. We will make it maybe short so we can also make the little break for you and then just watch the shorts. So just here from what we said before, that since 2021 the collaborations got more in an institutional way, in the sense that there was a collaboration with Filmoteca, with the CCCB, with CCCB, which is a cultural and contemporary center of Barcelona, and also La Virena, it's another institution dedicated to visual arts, as well as Santa Monica. So we can also go to the next slide. It's different projects, but in a way it's important to highlight them because it makes you understand that this project, which Alba just said, is rooted into the city, also got an interest from part of from the institutions, and they got much more related, meaning that suddenly there was a lab in a visual center where participants were asked to also create pieces to one of the cineastas of their wish. And also there was workshops done. Here you see also a workshop. We can go to the next slide maybe. Yes, this was the project together with La Virena, which is a visual art center. Maybe well, it's very short. We can show the video.
This is the trailer of the exhibition. Also, we can talk. Yeah.
Yes. So actually, this is like since 2021, this is what is happening. And the last very big project where Archipelag participated was last year in 2024 with the CCCB, the Contemporary Cultural Center of Barcelona, and where actually there was a whole room dedicated to the Archipelag project within the center, exactly, dedicated to the exhibition of Agnes Varda.
Yeah, it's in the next slide. If you can, yeah. So you can see like the reproduction of the archipelago in the Agnes Varda exhibition in the last room of the exhibition. And yeah, I think it's really interesting to see how in this open call that has been running for 8 years, we have tried to imagine different ways of activating the open call, because I think an open call doesn't necessarily work for itself, but it needs to be activated, especially when it comes to women filmmaking. And we have seen photos of master classes where we invited directors to talk about the work of other directors. So the public that may not know a name, may not know a director, no, because in these master classes, for example, there were talks about Cecilia Mangini, about Caroline Schneemann. So directors that are not that known to the general public, and we as programmers, or we as a women film festival have to make an effort to get these names to be more visible. And as Sarah said, we have imagined, we have organized laboratories, workshops, exhibitions, so different ways of activating the open call. And I think this is important in the world of dissident practices and women filmmakers. It is crucial to activate the open calls, to repeat and circulate the names of women directors, to foster the transmission of knowledge, because unlike the canonized history of cinema made by men, this knowledge is not firmly established, and it risks to be forgotten, and we have to continuously revisit it and share it. And this is why creating this space of encounter that Rosanna was explaining before, it's essential for us, because these spaces allow these works and voices and genealogies to be alive and reinterpreted and passed on to future generations.
Yeah, I think this gives you like kind of a big framework of what is the project. Maybe if you like, and if we later on we have time, we can also answer some questions of the audience.
Yeah.
And watch first, or depending on how it's organized from your side there in Montreal. But we would say that it makes sense like that.
Yeah, I think so.
To watch the different shorts we selected. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Wanted to add to what you said that there's also a very large representation of Latin American filmmakers, and if you could speak to this, Sarah Gomez, Portillo.
Yeah.
How this was, yeah.
Actually, we have a program each year that's called Latin American Women Filmmakers, and that we are actually starting next week.
Next week on Thursday.
On Thursday. And over the years, because it's a program that has been running for, I think, also 7 years now. We were not part of the team when this program started. But we have been screening the work of Latin American pioneers, such as Matilde Landeta, or such as Rosa Marta Fernandez, Marta Rodriguez. I don't know if these names are familiar to you. And also we have screened the work of contemporary women filmmakers for the last 3 years, I think. And this year we decided to go back to not the pioneers, but more historical names. And we are doing an homage to Lourdes Portillo, who is she's a Chicana filmmaker. She was born in the United States, but has Mexican roots. And she died last year. So and we're doing three sessions with her work. And
Sarah Gomez was part of the archipelago, I think.
Sarah Gomez is part of the archipelago. Yeah, she had an island since last year, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah, the Sarah Gomez Island appeared on the archipelago last year. Because we also, as Sarah was telling before, we have years when the open call is really open, and participants can make a tribute to a filmmaker of their wish. But there are some years when we direct a little bit this open call. And last year we directed it to Sarah Gomez because we thought she deserved more visibility. And we did a retrospective on her work in the Cinematheque, and then we directed the open call to her.
Yeah, and when the open call is directed, generally it's because there's our retrospective, all the works were shown in that specific year. Also, especially to make the works accessible. It means if we know that it's quite complicated to access the films, then of course we would first then make them visible in the framework of the festival, and then we would say invite the audience to make a tribute because we also made accessible the films.
Exactly. I think you're seeing now the last slide of the PowerPoint, which is the open call.
Yes.
We wanted to invite you also to participate because the open call is now open till the 15th of October. I think we will have a week more
extended deadline.
Yes. But the open call is open to participate, not only for public here in Catalonia, but also you're really welcome to do it if you wish.
And it's an open call, meaning you can tribute to whoever cineast.
This year is open.
It's open, so you're highly invited. And yeah, we would now, it depends on you. You have to tell us, because we know that you planned a little break, but we, from our side, we would be also.
We do, but I'd like to ask anyone who would like to ask questions to please speak up. Do you have any questions for Sarah and Alba?
If anyone
We
does
have
have any
mic.
questions, just,
Would like-
of course, thank. There's also some people joining us on Zoom, and if they have any questions, they can pop them into the chat. Those of you here in the space, just raise your hand. We'll run a microphone over to you so those online can hear you too.
Also, if you want to do the screening and the Q&A afterwards,
For us, as
perfectly fine.
Yeah, so what we could do is take 10 minutes. We can have a break, have some refreshments here, and we'll be back at 3:30 because I know it's late in Barcelona. And we'll start with the screenings. And then after the screenings about 30 minutes or so. And then we'll open for questions, for comments to everyone, including members, participants on Zoom. And I'm sorry, I didn't thank you. I don't see the participants, but thank you for being here. Thank you so much. So we'll reconvene in 10 minutes, 3:30 or so. Sarah and Alba will introduce the screenings and then we'll continue. Thank you. See you soon.
Everyone joining us on the Zoom, yeah, just we'll keep the Zoom open if you want to take a break yourself and come on back. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Surely, if you want to take your seats, this is an open space, so you can actually stand or the sofa is in high demand, but there's only 4 or 5 spaces. So we're going to start shortly, and I don't know if Alba and Sarah wanted to say something about the program that they put together, and thanks for doing this.
Thank you. We will be brief, and I think we can talk more during the Q&A. We have just selected different pieces from different years of the Archipelago Open Call from 2017 to 2021. And there are pieces where the directors are mixed. We have more known directors, as Sarah said before, but we can mention them afterwards. And we have directors that are completely unknown to us. And yeah, I think that's it. We can talk more during the Q&A.
Thanks so much. So we can start the screening. It's about 30 minutes, and then we have questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nadie sabe lo que tienen las dulces aguas de este terreno, que crían unas mujeres que no las hay en el mundo entero.
He visto una película que habla de las espigadoras y
Sí,
dice que lo hacían solo las mujeres.
sí. Las espigadoras iban a espigar para sus pollos si tenían gallinas o conejos, para que comieran. O garbanzos y hasta cebada, trigo. He tirado algarrobas, he segado garbanzos, la lavaré a coger. Claro, a coger aceitunas a los olivos, higos a las higueras. Y luego de moza segué trigo, cebada, algarrobas, alberjones verdes.
Pasabas de la vendimia, nos íbamos a coger tomates, 150 cajones, pesando todos 40 kilos.
Y me gusta trabajar.
¿Te ha gustado trabajar?
Claro,
¿Cuántos años has trabajado?
pues ya ves, 3 años.
Explícame un poco todo lo que has ido trabajando.
Primero cuidando cerditos, luego cuidando vacas, trabajando en la tierra, y luego y a servir a la acción. Pues desde casa he trabajado en el hotel. Ese trabajo que iba a hacer. Para mí es el paraíso. Sí,
¿Por qué?
porque ha ido muy bien y está muy contenta. Me considero mi madre, mi querida Michi. Y yo creo que estoy bien. Y luego me a la pared. Y la fábrica, pues, empaquetábamos material. Y ponemos etiquetas en las cajas que te dan el material. Y todo eso.
Y ahora estás descansando
Ahora estoy descansando la vejez,
en una hamaca.
porque ya estoy cansada. Ya tengo que descansar, ¿no? Ya es hora, ¿eh? No, es que estoy por favor,
¿Con qué?
¿eh?
¿Con qué?
Pues con los dolores,
¿Qué dolores?
los dolores de los huesos, de la fibromialgia y de todo eso,
¿Y qué haces para que no te duela?
puedo, puedo, pues, distraerme, y cocinar y hacer lo posible para que no me duela.
¿Qué tal estás en la hamaca?
Pues como está bien.
¿Y cuántas veces te has subido en una hamaca tú?
Bueno, pues, ayer y hoy.
Es la primera vez que te subes en una hamaca.
Sí, sí,
¿Y te gusta?
pues no sé. Bueno, podríamos proponerlo, ¿eh?
Psicóloga, martes 3 de marzo, primer día. me siento culpable. Parece que me considero tonta y que las personas abusan de mí o las considero superiores.
Considero mi cuerpo como una máquina.
Dice que no tengo conciencia de los límites que la vida impone.
Límites. Por ejemplo, tener que vestir adecuadamente y cuidadosamente para cada ocasión.
Hay una relación sadomasoquista que yo aguanté y que no tendría que haber soportado más de 3 días. Yo creo que si he aguantado tanto es por condiciones sociales y religiosas de mi época.
Quería amar y esto ha fallado. En mí hay amor y odio. Tengo sensibilidad y soy creativa. Quiero hacer cosas que no he logrado hacer antes. Estoy muy sola. Toda mi vida he estado sola.
Bueno, yo creo que esta película marcó en cierta medida mi vida, porque fue tal la impresión que me causó. Además era la tierra de mi madre, Odessa, y nunca voy a olvidar, jamás voy a olvidar ese cochecito de bebé cayendo por las escaleras hacia el mar o hacia la tierra. Un recuerdo muy hermoso y un recuerdo que permanece vivo en mí. porque es la primera gran película que vi sobre ese acontecimiento extraordinario que fue la Revolución Rusa, que sigue siendo un gran acontecimiento a pesar de la desgraciada historia de los años 90, cuando aquel estado de campesinos y de obreros se desvaneció, se desarticuló como un juego de naipes. El hecho de que hubiera ocurrido tal tragedia, yo diría, para el movimiento comunista internacional, para nosotros, para los comunistas argentinos. Sin embargo, el ideal revolucionario no fue castigado. Es decir, fue castigado en un aspecto, en la desolación que significó la pérdida de aquel faro que era para nosotros los comunistas del mundo entero. Pero no desarticuló nuestra utopía, nuestros ideales y nuestra convicción de que únicamente el socialismo puede contribuir de verdad a la igualdad, la equidad, el humanismo, el respeto a la vida humana.
Deixa'm deixar aquí i així us ensenyaré l'aparato aquest que tenim aquí, gran, amb l'algodó, anar girant, i aquí, per aquí, que ni més organitzat que ara, els papers, els termossetals, els pons,
Qui va començar primer, tu o la teva companya? És la primera dona que va fer dibuix animat en aquest país?
La Rosa Gran ja hi era animadora. Després hi havia una altra noia que va estar més poc temps i després hi havia una alemanya, la Edith Frank.
Però n'hi ha molt poques dones que fan animació.
Quan aquests fills agafen nòvia i es casen, doncs el tenen que deixar.
El que més t'ha agradat animar, que ha sigut? On t'has disfrutat més amb la feina? Animant què? Esport, publicitat.
Publicitat i després la pel·lícula de la doncella Guerrero.
Pero la doncella insiste con terquedad y tesón. Con vuestras armas y nombre defenderé vuestro honor. Te delatarán tus ojos que otros más bellos no son. Yo frunciré el entrecejo con mirada de traidor. Tienes las manos muy blancas, no son manos de varón. Yo las pondré al aire, padre, para que las queme el sol.
A la doncella Guerrera només em van donar el guió literari. Jo vaig fer tots els dibuixos, totes les escenes, alguna part d'animació ho va fer un altre, perquè tot no podia fer-ho. Però marcar les fites del que volia que fessin, sí. L'storyboard el van fer després, el que va fer l'escrit, el va fer després fent fotocòpies dels dibuixos que feia jo de cada escena.
De publicitat te'n recordes dels spots que fèiem? Jo no me'n recordo gaire. Havies fet algun de... Duermo en picolín.
Que tu també hi vas treballar.
Climatizado. Haga frío o calor, usted dirá, Bipli, yo duermo en picolín. Picolín.
Recordo que una vegada vaig treballar en una sèrie que era eròtica, porno.
Pues no.
Passa que tu no ho sabies. Tu no ho sabies.
No.
Perquè et devien passar els planos, te'n recordes? I llavors...
Va ser. Em va fer.
Em va fer, era. Has de tornar a dibuixar, Jo... Sap molt greu, però...
Jo, la pròxima vegada que vingui altra vegada a la Terra, prometo que dibuixaré.
Vale.
Clar, perquè tornem.
Ah, sí?
Sí. Clar. El que portem a dintre, de cada un, aquest, penses que només ha vingut una vegada a viure a la Terra,
Bueno, la pròxima entrevista d'aquí a uns anys. Tu en faràs 100, jo en faré 40 pocs.
40?
40.
Si ja en tens 70.
Adéu. Me'n vaig. No que m'insultis aquí.
S'ha acabat el
mentides, mentirosa.
Como yo te amo, como yo te amo, convéncete, convéncete. Nadie te amará.
Sentir-se com el llençol, com quan estens els braços a l'entresol, entrecloques els ulls i tot va cap amunt, però el terra és avall i l'has de trepitjar i la gravetat és aquí fins l'infinit. Així la desafies, així et poses un repte amb tu mateixa, deixar anar per retenir l'amor en mi, deixar anar si a tots els dits, deixar anar per tenir el no tenir, deixar anar per l'ocell i l'arbre dins del llit. Ballar i adonar-se que després estàs més cansada encara, i et pesen les pestanyes i tot el cervell s'aixafa fins als peus que vol trepitjar el terrat. I enfonsar l'edifici seria una mica agosarat, però potser aixafar la roba neta perquè fa massa bona olor i escampa les llavors en l'aire com si fossin de cotó, el cel s'estronca de mare en mare, la corbata la poso de cordó de la sabata i així la caputxa tapa les idees que potser de vegades fan por de treure. El jutge de qui està al davant o al darrere que és enllà. Així moc les cames al malic, estofa els malucs, els peus, els dits, les orelles, tot, bon, deixar anar per retenir l'amor en mi.
y también los dibujos y patrones que me mandas, los que te agradezco mucho, pues casi todas las ropitas ahora las hice yo y me han venido muy bien los patrones. Aquí todas las ropas se compran hechas, pero yo para la nena solo compré un vestidito, para poder hacer más yo, que en cuanto lo lavé se abrieron todas las costuras. Parece que viene todo hecho con prisas y de barullo. De la niña te diré que no somos a saber fijamente a quién se parece. Ahora es igual que yo y hasta el pelo lo tiene azafranado, pero más oscuro que lo mío. Paréceme que debe ser el mismo color que lo tuyo. Cuando ella se fija mucho en una cosa, saca el ojicito, no sé cómo, que le da un parecido a Manuel. Pero se parece a mí ahora. Pronto nos retrataremos otra vez. Cuando me escribas, pones la primera dirección que te di, que es 29 Joralemon Street, en vez de 175 Clinton Street. Si no queda otro piso en esta misma casa vacío, más alto, nos cambiaremos otra vez, porque Manuel solo miró que yo tuviera pocas escaleras que subir y bajar con el carrito de la niña. En cuanto empiece el calor, es poco dormir con todo abierto, y yo voy a tener miedo cuando esté sola porque las ventanas se alcanzan desde la acera.
Thank you. So I don't know if you want to say something. The references were many, some of the filmmakers well known, maybe, some other less. But I would like to open also to questions.
Yeah, if we wanted to just mention that I think it's important to know it that some of the short films that took part of this screening were presented to the open call in the different editions, but were later transformed into bigger projects. For example, I don't know if you can remember, for example, the first piece, the one by Marina Sierra, that was celebrating the work of Agnes Varda, and it's about the Gleaners, was later transformed into the feature film, the first feature film of Marina Sierra, of this director. Or, for example, the one directed by Margal Mirall, that's the one with the diaries of her grandmother and the images in Super 8 of her grandmother too, was also transformed into a feature film called Elena Universo that also had like a beautiful festival trajectory. Yeah, so for us, it's important to see that the archipelago can be a way of exploring some ideas that can later be something bigger.
Yeah, it's like seeding a bit the future, or like if you have an idea of some kind of piece you would like to do, it's like experiment a bit, experiment in a very short format, and then later on you can also then present it, and it's what happened also with Margal Mirall and Marina Sierra. I think this is yeah, a good place to do this kind of tests and experiments.
Yeah, no, thanks. Many genres, many formats, very intergenerational, very different contexts, also production. I'd like to hear from students. This is a course on reusing, repurposing different media. There are a lot of media also in this project, and there are many different ways in which cinematic works by women filmmakers are reused, or women filmmakers use cinematic works. some well-known, some less. Anybody has a question? Yeah, Adam, please.
I would just ask that whoever has those questions to raise their hand so I can get this microphone to you so that people can hear you.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Thank you.
Yeah, hi. My name's Adam. It's not a question, it's more of a comment, but I think getting to watch these, something that I really realized, because you guys talked about what you do and how important it is to look back in history and how you're making history known, but actually watching the films, it was interesting to see how heavy the present still was in these historical stories, because it was people making the stuff right now, and it was their own labor in all of the ways they experimented with the different stuff. But the stories and the content was still really centered around the past. So you were really feeling the past being told, and stories that couldn't be told before, but you were still feeling very real labor and ideas of what someone was doing right now. And I think the way the present and the past was merged in these ways, in these stories that had to rediscover these things that were hidden, had a very, I don't know, it felt very, it had a nice emotional and effectual depth to me. And I think if these stories could have been told before traditionally in ways that weren't hidden, that would have been great. But I think even now getting to tell them like this, the prompts and the whole project, it really makes lemonade out of the lemons of having the stories being hidden, because you have these stories being told through people that you know, or you know that all the parties involved are working through it, and you just have the past and the present married in a really cool way that I think affects the people who get to watch this stuff in a way that they maybe wouldn't have been affected if these things could have been told in a more traditional way. So yeah, I think that was really nice.
Thanks so much for the comments.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, and I think it's also beautiful in the same line that you were saying now. It's really beautiful to get to know the filmography of one director, but through the eyes of other person, because now if you're familiar to these directors that were shown in the screening, you can get to see the connections. But even if you don't know the directors, like getting to or being introduced into one director's filmography, but not through her films, but through a piece that someone has made tributing her, I think it's a really nice way to.
It's also about what we mentioned earlier, about genealogies, constructing history that goes, I mean, it's not even circling, but somehow it's looping in, looping in history, looping in the present, looping in new generations. Yeah, I think this is, I mean, that's the purpose also of the project.
Thanks. And what I really also like about Adam's comment is the labor and the affect that is put into this project, how they weave through the present, the collective memory and the imaginary. There's almost a palpable, I think, dimension to these works, but also the testimony, the voiceovers that are typically associated with very traditional work, but it's very emotionally, personally felt in all of them. The use of letters in the Aline Marazzi piece, which I, especially in Italian, particularly liked. I just wanted to say that there is a message from the Flying Broom. The Flying Broom is another film festival very much based on social impact, founded in 96, started in 98, and they sent a thank you so much, Alime, for sending this message. Alime Gunnar is the founder. They sent a very nice message regarding how they would like to organize something that they did some years ago, a reunion of women's film festivals in Ankara. Ankara was, and the Flying Broom was one of the festivals that I had the pleasure and the honor to visit during my first half sabbatical about this project. So it's an invitation for you as well. I think there are many resonances between the two festivals, the way in which they reach out to different communities and the way in which the programs are done. So I don't know if you want to comment on this.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. I think our colleague Mar was like traveling in 2021 to the Flying Broom Festival.
Exactly, Margal Moiral, where we saw also a piece from her, but yes, exactly, she was visiting you, I think, so we will also pass her over the greetings, and thanks a lot for your greetings and greetings back from us. It's true, exactly. I mean, it's there's a resonance in quite clearly, and also about the amount of years. I mean, it's for you, we're talking about 3 decades of film festival. The Mostra Internacional Film Salones de Barcelona, also it's more than 3 decades, but it means that there's like resonance and the content and the values and the kind of work we are doing. Also in context, it's different contexts, but of course, I mean, depending on which year and in which context, there's also new like things who come together, and I think that it would be very, very interesting to meet up again with your festival in Turkey. And
thanks, Urun, and thanks, Halime. Thanks. Comments? Bears, you would like to introduce yourself?
Hi, Bears Fonte. I actually run a film festival in Austin, Texas, the Queer Film Festival there. I'm curious, in the name of conversations going across generations of filmmakers, from the one set of directors to another set of directors, when the filmmakers are doing these sort of conversation pieces or reference pieces, have they been seen by any of the original set of directors, and have they had reactions to it? I mean, is there anybody in the island, that is seeing the little island and saying, hey, thanks for making that film, or anything like that? I'm curious if those conversations are going both ways.
We always do at the end of every open call. I don't know if we said this, but we organize a screening, like in-person screening, and we show the pieces of that particular edition of the open call. And there have been years where directors that were being tributed attended the screening, like in the cases we said before. Mostly Catalan directors, such as Carolina or Maria Ruido, Maria Zafra, Maria Cañas. That's the one, this director tributed in the screening you have just seen, where there's one person that does this kind of video essay with the kisses, with the horizontal lines and the diagonal lines. And all these directors, I think they got the opportunity to watch their pieces, and there have been dialogues in this sense. For the international directors, I don't think so.
No, we're not aware of. At least it was not a dialogue in the sense that we got a feedback from the other side. Could be that in some way they got aware of it, but there was not a proper dialogue in the sense of the word.
This year we want to focus on the island of Sarah Lauzemis that still doesn't exist in the archipelago, and we worked in collaboration with her daughter Anushka, and we are sharing some of the master classes she did when she was here. And I hope this is another opportunity to have this dialogue back, not with the director, but with her daughter.
Exactly.
And being able to see this island emerging.
Any other comments or questions? Or curiosities from.
This also includes people online. So once again,
Yeah.
if anyone in the Zoom has any questions, please feel free to pop them into the chat. We'll be
Yeah.
sure to read them
Thank
out
you.
loud.
Yeah, you can also write them. I had just a quick question. You had a variety of different types of videos. Can you speak to the choices that you made? How do they reflect the variety that is in Archipelago? It's very experimental as well. There's a lot of animation. There's a lot of different techniques used.
Yeah, I think we want to make it
Sorry, it looks like we have someone on Zoom who had a question. If you did, feel free to raise your hand and we'll spotlight you so that everyone knows that you're going to have a question. But if that's not the case, we'll continue.
Are we back? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think it's okay. No? Yeah. No, I was saying that we wanted to make a selection that reflected all this richness of the archipelago, and also it's important to say that we made a selection of videos. But if you have the opportunity, and I encourage you to do it, to navigate the full archipelago, you will see that. Lots of people do not send videos. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they send texts, or as we were saying before, GIFs or images or poems, or every format. And I think it's also interesting to say that this is an open call where we do not select the pieces. Everything that we get, we publish it in the archipelago. If it's because there had been some editions of the open call where we received videos directed to, I don't know, Martin Scorsese, and well, in that case we won't publish it. But if it's addressed to a woman or non-binary trans director, we will do it. So we don't make this, it's not a competitive open call. Mm-hmm. We just publish and show everything we receive. Mm-hmm.
Other questions? Maybe someone who was on trying to ask a question from the Zoom? Nope. Anybody else? Yes, please. Marco.
Hi, it's just a very practical question.
This is Marco.
Oh, yeah. Hello. Just a very practical question. So I was wondering, how is your festival structure? So what kind of programs do you have in it when the Mostra actually takes place, and what kind of initiatives you do like year round, and if you have, like, for example, also some collaboration with other festivals, feminist queer festivals in Spain, in Europe, or the world over, etc. So how does it work? Thank you.
Thank you. I think it changed over the years, of course. So for the current way of doing with our current team, which is like this since like a few years, we have now established 2 volumes, meaning we work focused on 2 times of the year. One is spring, basically end of May and June, and there we have like more international films in a section in the Filmoteca, which is the Catalan Cinematheque, and like different programs, but it's really more an international part of the programmation. Also with open air screenings, and the festival is more set with different programs. So there would be 1 week at the Filmotheque, 5 open air screenings, 2, 3, or 4 special screenings in different collaborative spaces. Then well,
And another open call.
another open call. This would be spring, May and June. And then autumn, since a few years, it's also like more dedicated to Latin American filmmakers, which we mentioned before, which would be now 3 sessions in October. Then we have like an itinerant program, which is also with the idea of decentralized culture. So it's a program which is not happening in Barcelona, but it's a selection of different feature films and documentary films which are traveling around Catalonia, especially in more rural and not that accessible locations. And then we have another program which is back then in Barcelona, which is at the end of November, early December, which is at the CCCB, which we mentioned before, and which is a filmic, we call it a feminist filmic manifesto, and every year it changes a bit the focus or the theme. So there will be autumn, and then we have the open calls, and the open call of Archipelago is more related to autumn. And then we have another open call, which is in spring, which is it's called El Video del Minuto. It's the video, a 1-minute video, and it's more in spring. So we have like different programs, and they in different moments of the year. And about the question of international collaborations, it depends. It depends of the year. It depends if it's an anniversary or not. And it's changed over the years. I think there were some years where some international collaboration was stronger. This year, our international collaboration will be Concordia with this project, actually. So next year, it's going to be an anniversary because we have like the 50 years of the feminist days. Like in the beginning, when Alba was explaining the connection between the feminist movement and the birth of the festival, that it happened also related to the feminist days. So next year it's the 50th anniversary, meaning that this is a very important anniversary also for the festival, because there will be activities done together. So yeah, I think it depends a bit if there's anniversary or not, and on the project. I hope I more or less answered the question.
And they do collaborate, as I said before in the introduction, with other film festivals. They do have interactions. They were, as far as I know, very much in contact with, especially with the Créteil Film Festival at the beginning. But you also, and I heard this from Créteil, you also suggested some ideas to Créteil, so it was a mutual collaboration. I think this is something that was brought up at a meeting at Créteil this year. So in terms of collaborative initiatives, in terms of projects that you launched.
Yeah, ideas which are not always reflected in the programmation. So we were now more like mentioning the programmation and this kind of terms, but it's true that there's like, let's say, outgoing conversation, which is more about the network and how to project some collaborations in the future and how to reconnect from other sides, but which is not always reflected in the filmic programmation, which you see then in the Filmoteca or in other venues.
I know it's very late, so I want to let you go. One last thing that I wanted to comment on, it was mentioned before, how this program, Archipelago, the programs, the activities that you do, reframe the history, but the memory, especially her story or their story or their memory of an imaginary of cinema. You said at the beginning you want to retell narratives from the very beginning, cinematic narratives, narratives of cinema. How does Archipelago contribute to that, also in terms of legacy, intergenerational legacy?
In terms of legacy, I think we're connecting then again to, of course, the words of genealogies, constructing, retaking, going back in history, trying to as it's an open call and it's open to like as much cinephiles as professionals and amateurs, I think this is quite interesting because there's like contribution which can be more academic, which are more from a filmic side. And in this sense, of course, the history is not only from filmmakers, because of course it is, but also from academics who research and then do their own proposals. And the fact that it's such alive, it has another, like it connects in a different way to constructing. Also because Alba before was saying there's not, it's not a set frame like the story of the cinema made by male directors. Here it's much more alive, much more, well, it's always in construction. There's not a set structure. Maybe in 5 years we will realize that there's some female cineasts we were not absolutely not aware of from the 90s, but there will be someone who is contributing to them. And so it's nourishing and it's getting bigger, and it will still, I mean, it's a never-ending story, no? It's
and I think it also allows us to activate a space of encounter now here in Barcelona, like all these directors that participate in the archipelago don't just send their pieces from their homes and there's no connection to the project, but we habilitate this space of encounter through workshops, through laboratories, through the screening that we do each year. And so we are putting in contact new generations of filmmakers, of academics, or of cinephiles. And we are also allow them to know each other, but also to discuss together about these genealogies and not just do it through the screen.
Exactly. It's a never, there's no boundaries and there's no setting. And I think this is what makes it rich. And also for us to question and to always say, well, it's not, we don't have a finalized story. And yeah.
Thank you. So I just wanted to say a few words to thank you, first of all, for being here, for sharing this material, these stories with us. Thank all the participants on Zoom, the participants in presence, the students who asked questions, who made comments, and all the participants who came. We'll continue on in presence. We'll stop the Zoom and we'll discuss some more. If we have any questions for you drawing on this event, we will let you know. Thanks so much and good luck with the next events that are happening. Thanks so much. Thank you.
Everyone.
Gracias. Muchas gracias.
And have a good afternoon.
Sorry. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Arlo, Daria. Yeah, we'll celebrate in presence sometime.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rosanna. Thanks for everyone for coming in for the
Thanks
question.
for the space. Really, it's been a pleasure working with you.
It's great to have you all here.
Thanks for having us. Thank
I just want to let everyone know on Zoom, we're going to close up the Zoom. We're going to close with live stream now, but just remember this remains available on our YouTube channel and you should revisit it. All right. You should also have a wonderful afternoon and evening. Good night.
Thank you. For those in presence,